Hey friends, welcome back to OG Universe. Thank you so much for stopping by. And on the turntable today, we are looking at the brand new McFarlane Toys DC Multiverse, the Dawn of DC Red Hood. Now, this is Red Hood in his most contemporary outfit from the comic books. It's a pretty big departure from what we've seen in the past, offered by McFarlane Toys, and of course from DC. Every hero does kind of, grow into a new costume. He always change his appearance. You gotta sell more toys, you gotta sell more comics. So every once in a while we'll see an upgrade, and sometimes they'll go back to their old kind of OG costume. Maybe we'll see that in the future, but for now, this is our incarnation of Red Hood in his latest outfit from Dawn of DC. Let's take a look at packaging, what came with this figure, and some things that just don't sit well with me with this figure. But the artwork on the back is really striking. Now, I believe this is from Gothamore. There's a Red Hood special. Really nice. You can see he's got his crowbar in one hand. He showed a sword in the other. Really beautiful artwork. On the side here, you got Red Hood Dawn of DC. Inside, you have that beautiful trading card artwork. You have a display stand. And the figure does come with a couple of accessories, but some neat and different things that they're doing here. As you can see, he comes with two fisted hands. But now, instead of having just the peg attached to the figure, the peg and the hand are one piece with full articulation. Something a little different here. You don't see that too often, but it's interesting to see them trying something different. Now, he does not come with a gun. No, unfortunately, he doesn't come with a gun. That's from the munitions pack, just a little painting on the top, made that silver really pop. The figure itself does come with these two weapons, a short shoulder sword, which is really nice, but there's some horrible things about it which I just dislike. And the crowbar, and it's really nice metallic silver. Now, the sword is so flimsy. It is so pliable. It was so warped out of the package. I had to actually freeze it, kind of shape it, kind of bring it back to life. So it does fit into these holsters on the back, which I'm really happy that it does. Both of them slide in very nicely. They're both a very soft, pliable material. These little hooks that grasp onto your weapons as well, they're a soft, pliable material, so they're not going to break off out of, putting them on and off. Nothing to worry about there. There is some great detail on this figure, but as you can see from the back, these are some nasty looking elbows. It's like, just does not look good, unfortunately. And another thing, we're gonna get some of the bad things I don't like about this figure out of the way. The pins. The pins in the arm here, they should have been red. So I'm definitely gonna have to repaint that. I just do not like the way that looks. It's a bit of a shortcut. Now, with those hands that have the ball peg included, this hand was extremely loose when I put this in. Maybe there's a size difference between the ball pegs that stretched out the port, but man, I had to put some some clear nail polish around the joint and put it in, and now it's much better because it was just so loose. Same with this hand, exact same thing. Now we have a lot more friction. And of course, the ball joint up in the shoulder wasn't fully attached. The arm did pop off when I took it out of the package, which is a little unnerving. I don't like stuff like that. And he doesn't even have spacer joints. So no spacer joints, arm popped off, loose articulation in the wrist, but everything is fixable. As you can see, the arm is nice and stiff. It's rigid. It's good. Got lots of range of motion, except for that spacer joint that gives him a little bit of extra motion. And like I said, just those hinges there. That one, that's totally fine, but when we get to here, that should have been painted red. I know it's pretty much a little difficult to do to have two different colors on ball hinges like that, on those pegs, but well, if you're a customizer, we're going to repaint that red. We might even repaint this red to go along with it if can't find a matching paint. And unfortunately, there's one more thing. I'm getting a lot of the negatives out because there's so much good about this figure, but this hood piece was so warped. This was really off to the side, and it still kind of is, but man, I do not like this one piece hood attachment to the collar. We've seen it used on the Longbow Hunter's Green Arrow. Didn't work out for that figure. That was a real shame. So it was a pretty decent figure. Unfortunately, they used a body buck from, I think, was it Princess Diaries or something like that, some fairy tale movie. I can't remember what it was, but that body buck did not sit well. It was really bad with articulation and everything else, and it just felt dated. It should have been better. Should have been better. So we have seen some really good hoods used in conjunction with the articulation in the neck. We saw that Titan's Raven figure, where it was one piece, but you had articulation at the neck, and you had that little bit of a hood attachment at the bottom of the chin. Now, it doesn't work for this figure because, as you can see from the artwork, he doesn't have that kind of hood. But man, they gotta figure some way out to improve this, because you can move this head all around, but the hood doesn't move with it, and it looks silly and awful. Okay, so we've got all that stuff out of the way. We got the negatives out. I just wanted to kind of air those because they're so blatantly obvious. I'm not going to sugarcoat. I speak my truth. If something I don't like as a consumer, as a collector, I'll let you guys know and give you my honest feedback. With those things out of the way, though, you do have a very nice looking Red Hood. Aesthetically, this looks so damn nice. The fact that they did metallic paint on that little respirator visor there, or it's not visor, that piece here, looks so good. And then the eyes as well, they have a bit of a metallic finish on the domino mask, so it looks really good. Now, you can carefully pull this back. I'm not going to because I don't want it to rip or anything, but he does have sculpted hair as well, which is great. But what they should have done, in my opinion, is give this piece here the cloth wired goods treatment. If you had a cloth wired hood that you can put up and down, adjust it, that would have made this figure stellar. Absolutely stellar. I would have overlooked some of the shortcomings with the pins, the kind of QC issues we had, but we fixed. But yeah, just those couple things, man, it just held it back from being a stellar figure. Now, he does look pretty good aesthetically. He's got some really nice piping here, sculpted in. It's not just painted into the boots or into the body here. And he does have, look at that, he has that thigh cut so he can ride his motorcycle, which has come out. Should be here very, very soon. Really excited to put these two guys together. I don't buy too many vehicles at all, but that Red Hood vehicle, that motorcycle, has so many uses for Robins, Red Hood, some other characters. So I bought it, and I can't wait to see it and see how it turns out with this guy on top of it. But yeah, the gun too, man. I wish he would have came with some guns. I know sometimes he's not using handguns in the comics. He's using a sword and a crowbar. Is that more violent than a gun? Maybe, but I like my Red Hood with a gun. So I just added that from the munitions pack. The sculpted detail on this figure is really nice. Look at all of that texturing done on his shirt. The texturing on his vest, it looks fantastic. Has a leather pleather kind of look to it. Really nicely done. And you could go even further with some paint details. If you want to paint that zipper silver, definitely something you could do. But overall, this figure does look really nice. And unfortunately, again, this is a really hard plastic, so it's not removable. You're not going to be able to get this off, but you see the logo right there for Red Hood. He does share some pieces. After looking at some other Red Hood figures, I believe this crotch piece may be the pants with a bit of alterations here with this piping on the side. The boots are really nice. I really do like those boots, the red kind of texturing that we've had going on at the sole as well. The buckles look great. You could add a bit of paint, some silver to the buckles. I might do that as well. But man, overall, this figure does look fantastic. Now let's talk about some of the articulation this figure has. Let's take these guys out of his sabers, and I'll just give you a closer look at them. So the sword, it's painted in a real nice metallic silver. The handle looks great. I appreciate that extra attention to detail with the gold accents as well. But man, it's just such a flimsy piece of plastic. I really wish this was more rigid, just to give it some better shape and hold its construction, really. Because man, when it came out of the package, it was so warped. I guess maybe they did that so it goes into the sheath better, but I don't know. I'm not too crazy about that. The crowbar, we've seen this crowbar used quite a few times with Red Hoods, Jokers, and so forth, but it's really nicely done. Now this one is a bit pliable, not as bad as that sword, but it's painted really nice in a metallic silver, and I really do appreciate that extra little bit of fineness to give it a really nice polished look. It's not just cast in like a black or a real dull gray that you have to do extra paintwork to make it look better. They did a fantastic job on that. So greatly appreciated the weapons, just the rigidity of that sword. Yeah, see, I just took it out and I moved it a couple times and it's warped already. Like, we definitely got to work on that, McFarlane. We got to make sure these weapons are a bit better, but otherwise, very nicely painted and completed. So let's take a look at some articulation now. He's going to have a gun in his hand because, this is the Redwood I think a lot of people want to see. There's some great dynamic poses you can get him into, but yeah, just the head is articulation is just so limited. You can't really do much with it. And then again, my hood is warped. So that cloth wired hood they used on the Damian Wayne Robin, would have been used to such great effect here. My goodness, it would have been stellar to see that. But overall, aesthetically, he is a fantastic looking figure. He looks great. The paintwork looks pretty good. The texturing on the figure looks fantastic. Just a couple shortcomings here. So articulation in the head, it's pretty much non-existent because of that hood. He does have the full range of motion though. He doesn't have the spacer joints. You're not getting that extra little range of motion for the butterfly hinges. You don't have that, but you have the regular articulation, the bicep cut as well, which is nicely hidden right up here. It's very well done. You do have double jointed elbows. You got the ball joints in the wrist, full articulation up and down, everything else going on. Now for the abdominal section, he can go forward quite a bit, not too bad. Not much going back though. Not much going back. He does have a ball joint at the waist, ball joints at the hips, as we discussed. He has that cut, that thigh cut to give him a bit more articulation when he's riding his cycle. Double jointed, ratcheted knees. Really nice sculpted boots, man. These are fantastic looking boots. He does have, almost looks like, yeah, old school ball joints. So that's kind of interesting. They use some different parts for it. So again, this probably is a bit of a recycled figure, upgraded with some different motifs and a different bit of colors, but still using these ugly ball joints. But simple way to get rid of that, just boil and pop, put on another pair of black ball joints that have that sculpted detail for the joint there, and you're off to the races. It does have toe articulation as well, ankle rocker, pivot, all that great stuff. So he is pretty well articulated for a standard McFarlane Toys figure. Just a bit of shortcomings that just hold it back, and it's so frustrating because it's like you're taking 10 steps forward doing awesome stuff, and then you just boom hit this kind of like shortcut peak, and man, you just roll right off it. And I won't say you tank the figure, but so many things that could be improved upon this figure. Now, let's bring in some other figures to compare him with and see how he looks, how this newest incarnation of Red Hood looks against some other Red Hoods. So this one is from the Three Jokers. This one really did have a thin body. It's based off the original, some mixes and matching from the original release. Still a pretty cool figure. We did some toy surgery, swapped out the head from the Gotham Knights Red Hood, added that massive machine gun from the munitions pack. I kind of picture this Red Hood as when he first kind of comes to Gotham and he's taking over the gangs. He's kind of controlling Gotham in a few short days, basically takes over the Gotham underworld. It's a really cool story called Batman Red Hood Under the Red Hood, I believe. One of the best, finest Red Hood stories you're going to find out there. Definitely pick up the trades or the original comics. But this is how I see this Red Hood version, kind of like Under the Red Hood. Very cool. Like this figure a lot. And then we also have the Gotham Knights version, which, everybody hated that game. I liked that game. I wasted about 50 hours playing it. It's the only video game that you could really enjoy the sidekick, so to speak. Sure, you can play Red Hood in Injustice 2, but this Red Hood, you can do so much fighting and action and driving around on a motorcycle. And I enjoyed it. I know a lot of people didn't, but it was a great game for me. I had a lot of fun with it. But I like this Red Hood as well. Big, bulky, very like a tank, tactical, very cool. Now this one we did toy surgery as well. We had to swap out these hands because unfortunately the hands that came with were just pew pew hands and they sucked, man. You couldn't hold a gun, weapons, and they were really small. And we also swapped out the head to give him a battle damaged head. I really like that head. And it's so easy to swap out this head and put some unmasked heads on there as well. So you got some versatility with this Jason Todd Red Hood. Very nice. And they size up pretty well too. Now let's take a look at one of my favorite figures that has come out in the past few years, and that is this Robin. It's supposed to be Tim Drake Robin Reborn, right? But for me, I use the unmasked head from the Gotham Bat Family 5-pack from Amazon from a few years ago. And basically, I made this my definitive adult Jason Todd or my definitive Dick Grayson Robin. If he just kept going as Robin, because he does have this beautiful head sculpt. That is one of the phenomenal head sculpts McFarlane Toys has done. And he just looks great. I absolutely love it. These two look great in comparison as well. I like the height between the two figures. That's really appropriate, considering it's either, well, this is supposed to be Tim Drake, but in my universe, it's Jason Todd or dick racing. So I love the combo between these two guys. And then let's bring in some other figures that go along well with this Red Hood, and that's here is my Nightwing figure. So this is a G1 body buck for Nightwing. It is from the Amazon exclusive Bat Family 5-pack. We did swap out the head from the Titans version. I really do like that head. Now this one did have the holsters for the skirmish sticks, and they are a bit of a harder plastic, a little bit of a rubbery feel to it. You can, move around with it, but I'm not going to be playing around too much with these. I do not want them to break off. I don't think I've heard anybody's figures, little holsters breaking off, but I don't want to take a chance. It is a really nice Nightwing, but we're going to get rid of those ball pegs. We're going to do some toy surgery, swap those out with another Nightwing, part of the Titans version. And I don't know if I want to keep these boots or use the ones that came with the figure, but yeah, those are going to get swapped out because this is one of my favorite Nightwings they've done so far. Hopefully we're going to get some more, but seeing these two guys together, yeah, not too bad. They look pretty good. And then, of course, we got to bring in a Batman. Of course, we're going to bring in a Batman. This is my favorite Batman, especially the comic book inspired stylization from Jim Lee. I think these two guys sit pretty well together. Batman's costume has gone through a lot of changes, but this is my favorite version. The blue, the gray, the subdued kind of yellowish color for the belt. The Bat logo looks awesome. The head sculpt is fantastic. Screams Jim Lee. This one is fantastic as well. Don't get me wrong, but limitations. A lot of limitations on this figure that hold it back. But pairing these two guys up would be pretty damn nice on a shelf. It would look good. And of course, I gotta bring in this guy here, one of the most diabolical villains in all comics, and that is Joker. This is from the Punchline Joker 2-pack. I really like this Joker a lot. The face sculpt is just so well done. Really stylized. The costume looks great. The green, the purple, the orange, the flower. He has that really sharp looking knife and the metallic silver. Yeah, I just really like the way these two guys look. You can just imagine these two guys in an epic battle. Yeah, it could happen in a short, so stay tuned for that. But yeah, I really love the way these two guys look together. Excellent figures. Very well done. McFarlane Toys. So, you've heard my thoughts and opinions. I'd love to hear what you guys think of this Red Hood figure. Unfortunately, it does have some limitations. It does have some limitations that hold it back from being the Red Hood that everybody wants. We definitely want modern interpretations of our favorite heroes. We want the classic versions as well. But when you got a figure that came out in 2020 and compare it to a figure that's out in 2024, it should be leaps and bounds better than that original figure. And sometimes, they just miss the mark, unfortunately. And on this figure, yeah, they did on a couple things. Doing some simple toy surgery, you can fix all that stuff. No problem. But the hood is the biggest problem I have with this figure. We've seen the cloth wired hood used to fantastic effect on that Damian Wayne Robin. Should have been used here. Hopefully down the road, maybe we'll get another release of this figure in a gold label or some sort of 2-pack, and they make those improvements to that hood and give us what we need to make this the best current version of Red Hood out there. Let's hope. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching. Remember to like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think of this figure. Thank you so much for the continued support. Stay tuned for more, guys, and make sure you turn on that bell notification so whenever I make a new video, it automatically jumps into your feed. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Take care.